saying that Shaq doesn't miss tactics, but he didn't miss a tactic. It's annoying though, because if there's like a pawn there, he would have seen it for sure.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Well, it's so common.
An empty square that's hard to see sometimes.
Yeah, it's so common in these Queen's Gambit declines that you have this tactics on the C7 square, on the C2 square. You don't expect them when white, because of the extra tempo of having white. Okay, with the G file half opened, Shaq has brought his rook over to the G file, and we just
went to H2. And
we just had this move, rook G7,
King H2,
a prelude to doubling up and eyeballing this G3 pawn, King H2.
How do you
Rook G8.
undermine these pawns? This D pawn and F pawn, they're really annoying, and E6 will happen.
I'm thinking about E6 and bringing the bishop to C7 so that I can really focus everything on against G3.
Okay, 95 seems like it has to. Oh, C4 is what he wants. C4 is to try to get
3 C4.
No. He played Rook C1.
Sorry.
He played Rook C1.
Oh shoot.
With the idea of C4.
Okay, Rook C1 with the idea of C4.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Because I'm wondering, these pawns were annoying the mess out of me, and he figured out how to go after them now with this move, C4.
So E6 was played, C4 was the answer.
And if the capture does occur on D5 and he has to take back with a pawn, that will certainly wreck the pawn structure for the rest of all time. So now Queen D7, Knight to E5, and that was another move I wanted to play but didn't see with the effect. And now with the queen sitting on D7, now it does come with pressure. And it looks like White's got a little something going on right now.
True that.
Centralized play with Black's 2 rooks stuck on the G line. This is quick aggression, and I think that White has taken over the initiative for sure. And if the E line opens, and there's going to be, that is, if there's a capture on E5, then there's going to be a pin against the queen. This pin I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got to get rid of this F4 bishop. I know what you mean. You're saying if there's you can't do it right away because of bishop F4.
Yes.
But we're expecting after 95. Oh, okay. Shaq has gone into a little bit of a tank.
He has to. It's a tricky position.
And
he has captured
once.
But does bishop G5 work if I take it?
Bishop G5 work if you take it.
And this happened.
He's played it. So we're about
and he has
to find
taken
out.
And rook takes.
G5, rook G5.
Bishop G5. And you know Shaq is just dreaming about capturing a pawn on G3 and opening up the G5.
Yeah, but there's no attack yet. Shouldn't he just take on D5 no matter what? Oh, he's
taken on E4 immediately.
Oh, because he wins a pawn on E4.
With rook takes E4, which is what he's done.
Which is what's happened.
He's taken advantage, as you said, of this pin along the D file.
A pawn up. Nakamura, in the meantime, is winning his game. So this would be a big full-point swing with them meeting next round.
Oh, my goodness. And that would catapult Hikaru into clear first.
But a full point clear first. We've seen a half a point a lot. A full point would mean Shakiyar would have to beat Hikaru essentially in the next game in order to still be in it. And he couldn't afford to lose. Because
I would like to remind you both that before the tournament began, I had Hikaru as the winner.
We all did. Relax.
For all geniuses if he wins.
Okay, just wanted to throw that in. I mean, I'm glad you guys caught me.
Shakiyar in trouble, having lost the pawn.
Yes.
Also down on the clock as well, and Wesley So
licking his chops.
Certainly helping his countrymen, helping his own cause. As the more he can bury Shakiyar, the better his chances are later on the Grand Chess Tour to be in the top 4.
Naka hasn't won yet. I mean, I'm looking at the position, and it seems like the material is even, and Naka's behind on the clock. So that game may be better, but it seems that...
No, we'll look at it afterwards. Let's stick on this one.
I don't think that...
But looking at this position,
I don't think that
he was winning. Maybe he missed some opportunities before.
This looks like Wesley is just a pawn up and just absolutely winning. I don't see Shaq recovering from
rook D8 was just played.
Rook D8.
Capture and pawn takes. And it should be some kind of rook dropping back, you would
think.
Rook
to D2, yep. Rook to E2, I apologize. Keeping this pawn on...
Look at Black's king. Remember the dream of attacking White's king?
Never happened.
Black better watch out for some pawn rushing to E6. And he's dropped his rook back to E2, and now D4 ignoring...
And now we expect
getting the D4 square. Queen D3 blockading. And now everybody... is going to start going after this D pawn. But wait, queen e6 threatens 2 pawns.
Queen e6, f4 is a nice little tempo.
Yes, f4 should be played first.
Both defending the pawn on
Wait, he played
e5.
rook c4. Doesn't rook c4 allow rook e5?
Rook c4, rook e5, rook d4. And he has played rook
He's
e5.
played it.
I'm not quite sure why
Rook
Wesley decided
D4. He's
to
traded off this
trade.
pawn for this one. Now you can't.
You can't take on d4 because then that rook will be in a pin, but you can take on e2.
Yes, you can. Yes, indeed. And that is not clear. Although the queen does get to d4 with check.
Yes,
but this rook and pawn ending is not as easy to win. I'm surprised, very surprised, they didn't play f4 as you mentioned. Yes,
yeah. But I still feel the extra pawn, the safer king you mentioned.
But a lot less than he would have had.
Yeah.
This one is not showing the best technique.
Still likely good enough, though.
Yes, I would say so.
Rook
and
takes
rook e2 has been played. Rook check, king up, queen d4 check, queen e5.
As expected.
Now, trading queens, if you don't have to, it would be net positive for white if you don't have to trade queens. Queen g4 check, for example, kings to f6, and then queen f3 check, and then rook d7.
Wins.
I like that.
Yeah,
yes,
I like
queen
that
g4
a lot
check.
better. Yes.
Looks like the kind of move you want to play right now.
Absolutely. Queen g4
Well, then
check.
you have to play king h6 because you let me get that, you're going to be really upset.
Right.
So king h6, and then he's testing what we're going to do about the f
pawn.
The f pawn, and I can't play queen h4.
But I love
g4.
queen g4 check anyway.
Queen g4, king h6. Only. Yeah, there he goes. So queen. What do you do now? That's the question. Queen h4 check. Oh, he has to go back to g7. He's repeating. Wow. Why did he repeat? He's got an extra time on the clock. No reason to worry about that. Now, how does he guard the pawn?
F2 pawn.
On
I'm
F2?
thinking queen f3 is the simplest.
He did play that. Oh, with tempo as well.
Because I'm also hitting this pawn on f7, don't forget.
Queen b2 is not playable because of
rook check.
Rook check, king g7?
Well, then
and then you continue the attack.
Right.
Yes, then you continue the attack.
He's
f5.
F5. Burning bridges.
Oh, man.
His king is very, very isolated and lonely.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy.
What about rook d5 and take your pawn? Like that looks.
And
that looks.
Guys,
rook d5, queen e4.
Guys, Nakamura just played a superstar move. We got to check it out. It's really cool. He just played e5 against Levon Aronian in a complex position. But check this out. Just bishop to f5 had just been played.
Sorry, I've got to pick up the game.
All right, we'll look at that game. We'll look at that game. Let's just
look at it.
This is
Bishop f5 had just occurred by Levon trying to tickle the e pawn, and Nakamura found this move e5. And I think the idea was that if the take c2 takes on f6, and black's king was getting decimated.
And it is being decimated. Let's go.
And so now instead, Nakamura is just up a pawn, and black's king is totally toast.
Exactly.
And Mamedyarov has established a passed pawn on the other side, or is about to establish a passed pawn on the other side of the board. And there's nothing that Wesley can do about that. So he's going to have to try to get his pawn. Why did he play there instead of king g3?
And
Naka won. That's a huge result. And if Shakiyar doesn't win now,
and he's lost, he is lost. This is a winning.
Then he'll have to beat Naka and then pray for rain in the last game.
Exactly.
Well, in the last round, Shak does play Anand, and Nakamura plays MVL. So at least Naka gets a tough parry in the final round.
Absolutely. And we just see.
What about MVL if he wins this game? If MVL wins,
how is he doing?
And MVL is winning against Sergey or better, apparently, we're hearing. So we'll take a look at that when there's a result here. But it does look like Shak is going to go down. He's got less time.
And he has a losing rook and pawn endgame. So this is very nice.
He's not going to make it easy. He never does.
No, he doesn't. He h5 check and rook c5, followed by king f4.
And in fact, MVL only drew the game.
Okay, that's very, very helpful to both Shak and Nakamura.
Well,
so king
Nakamura is already up to
F4.
21.5 points, guys. And
King F4 and check and rook B6.
Yes, that would be next.
You want to trade your A3 pawn for the B5 pawn. That's the whole key of the position.
And
I wonder if Nakamura is
right?
proud.
King E4.
Ooh,
Whoa!
they decided that he's ahead in the race, and H6 is
fast.
It's fast.
It's fast. 1 beats 2.
Yes, it does.
And now 2 beat 2.
And 3 beat everybody.
And you're gone. That's it. That's it. Wesley
like
So has done it. Wesley So has done it. He's crashed.
Shaq out of
And
the
where's the